So when you're trying to manage a full-time teaching job and a job search, anything that you can do to take things off your plate, increase your knowledge, do automation or outsourcing, those can all be lifesavers. I'm Lisa Harding, ex-EdTech CEO turned certified teacher career coach. It wasn't all that long ago that I was recruiting, interviewing, and hiring teachers for roles in corporate America. Teachers that ended up being some of my all-time best employees. Fast forward through my own career transition, where I left my role as CEO to become a stay-at-home mom, I now work with and empower teachers to transform their lives by turning their once distant career dreams into realities. In this podcast, I give you simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to help you do the same. If you're a burnt-out teacher or simply need a change and you're looking to create a life you love, you're in the right place, friend. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's Lisa Harding, and I am so glad that you are joining us today. Now, if you're tuning in to this podcast episode, you are probably juggling a lot right now. Lesson planning, grading, meetings, and everything else that comes along with being a teacher. And I know that when you're clocking 40, 50, 60-hour work weeks, finding the time and energy to focus on a career transition can feel honestly impossible. You're exhausted, mentally drained, and it's tough to stay productive when you're already stretched so thin. But that's exactly why I'm here today with this particular episode. Today, I'm going to share my top tips for staying productive during your job search, even when it feels like you've got a million other things on your plate. First off, I want to say that I get it. You're not just a teacher. You're balancing life outside of work too, whether that means family, friends, or other responsibilities. For some, the idea of having entire days dedicated to job hunting is a luxury that you just don't have, especially if you're still teaching full-time. But here's the thing. No matter what your situation looks like, the goal is the same. You are aiming for a new career path. The question isn't whether you can make this work, it's how you're going to make it work within your unique schedule. Recognizing these challenges is key because it helps you plan for when they pop up. But don't let them become roadblocks. I've worked with so many teachers in similar situations, and while it's not easy, I promise you that it is doable. The other thing is I want to recognize that we can't compare ourselves to what other folks are doing. Everyone's situation is different. So if dedicating time to your job search weekly for you means the 30 minutes while you are waiting for your son or daughter to finish up their ballet or soccer lesson, or whether it means an all-day event because you are currently unemployed, there is no right or wrong way to go about this. No matter what your situation, you'll need a mix of dedication and smart strategies to help you manage your job search alongside everything else going on in your life. So let's dive in to some tips on how to stay productive during your career change job search. Number one, we'll start small, and it's all about celebrating your small wins. My first tip is to shift your focus from just the end goal, landing that new job, to the smaller goals along the way. Yes, of course, the ultimate goal is getting that new career and the first day you get to start that job. But if you break it down into smaller steps, it will help you stay more motivated and productive throughout the entire process. And if you've been on my podcast before or you've attended my masterclass, you know that I am a huge fan of process. If you haven't attended my masterclass, it's absolutely free. It breaks down the entire career change process step by step. I'll link it in the show notes. But I want you to think about it like this. In teaching, you wouldn't expect your students to master something complex overnight. You celebrate their progress as they hit milestones. Just apply this same logic to yourself. Did you identify a job that you're interested in? That's a win. Did you finish tweaking your resume? Another win. Even getting through an interview, whether or not it leads to an offer, is progress. By focusing on these small achievements, you'll see that you're moving forward even if it feels slow. And it's bound to feel slow, especially in today's current job market. So give yourself grace and patience as you work through this process. Here's a couple of very practical strategies. Number one, set micro goals. Break down your job search into micro goals like spending 15 minutes a day networking on LinkedIn or applying to one job a week. Check these off, and by doing that, you're going to give yourself a sense of accomplishment and keep you motivated. My other strategy is to reflect weekly. At the end of each week, take a moment to reflect on what you've achieved, no matter how small. This practice of doing this reflection every week can help boost your morale and keep you focused on your progress. The second tip I want to share today is managing your time wisely. This is all about time management, my friend. And as a former sales manager, time management was absolutely key to how my sales department and my sales reps worked. We did something called blocked scheduling and how to make them more effective in their 8-hour workday. So I'm going to drop some tips and hints and nuggets of knowledge that actually come from my time in sales management, but we're going to apply them to your career transition. And as a teacher, I know that you are already used to having your days structured with a strict schedule. And when you're searching for a new job, especially going into a different field, this is something that can help you take control of your time. A great strategy is to work with your current energy levels. If you're more productive in the morning, tackle your hardest tasks then. Don't leave all of the big, daunting tasks until later in the day because you're likely to procrastinate or not feel, great or be able to give them your best effort. So think about when you are most productive and when you have the most energy. If you're still working, that might mean early mornings on Saturdays or Sundays. If it's a break time, it's over summer, or you're unemployed, you can just think about your day and when that would be for you. So I mentioned time blocking earlier. And this just means really setting aside dedicated specific blocks of time in your day for each activity. So even if it's 30 minutes, you can set that aside and know that you're going to do that. Now, if you have the luxury of having a 6-hour window, a 3-hour window to do your job searching or work on your career transition, even blocking out that time so you mentally know, okay, the first 30 minutes I am going to reach out to people on LinkedIn to try to set up informational interviews. Then the rest of my time is going to be applying for jobs. So just creating a schedule and sticking to it is great. Also, if you want to start every week by looking at your personal schedule and agenda and seeing where you can fit in time and literally put it on your calendar, and don't just put work on my career transition, literally say for every 30 minutes what you're going to be doing in that time block. The other thing that goes along with this is task prioritization. So make a to-do list and prioritize the tasks by importance and urgency, and tackle the most critical items first, and do those when you're at those peak energy levels that you've identified. My third tip in today's episode is embracing batch work. And this is something that we do in corporate America all the time. And batch work is just a great way to make you more productive. This means grouping similar tasks together so that you can focus on one type of work at a time. And we talked about this a little bit with the time blocking as well. So as an example, instead of checking LinkedIn sporadically throughout the day, just dedicate a specific time block solely for working on LinkedIn. This makes you more efficient and less prone to distractions. You can batch similar tasks together, like updating your resume, crafting your cover letter, or things like researching companies and giving that dedicated time block. You can also use a timer. If you are sticking to your block schedule and you want to make sure that you really are sticking to it, setting a timer for these batch tasks can help you stay focused and prevent you from spending too much time on one particular task. All right, moving on to my fourth tip today. Today's episode is sponsored by the Teacher Career Transition Academy. Our academy provides expert career coaching, professional resume and cover letter templates, small group coaching sessions, and a supportive peer network. The best way to jumpstart your career change journey is to enroll in my free Beyond the Classroom Masterclass. Visit teachercareertransitionacademy.com teachercareertransitionacademy.com/masterclass to enroll now. I'll also drop the link to register for free in the show notes of this episode. This free masterclass is sure to kickstart your journey or give you the boost you need to move the needle if you're already in the career change process. Enroll for free at teachercareertransitionacademy.com/masterclass. Moving on to my fourth tip today, it's minimizing distractions. And I feel like this is just a great tip for life, at least in my life, because we all know that distractions are inevitable, but the key is to minimize them as much as possible. When you do have time to work on your career transition, do everything you can to maximize that time. So I know in my household, that means I probably can't work in my office because I have an open office, there's no door, and I have little kids and a husband. So I would move my laptop into a room where I could shut the door and lock it and let everyone know for the next 30, 45 minutes, an hour, I am off limits. Another thing that people get tempted on is, they have this time they've carved out for themselves. It's easy to get tempted to start scrolling through social media or LinkedIn, and we can just get distracted. So I go back to kind of the timer. A timer is a really great way to do this, letting people know that you are working on this, and finding a nice quiet place so that you can block out the other distractions. If you find that you get very distracted while you're on your computer, there are distraction blocking apps like Freedom or Stay Focused. I know those used to be free. I haven't used them in a while. And you can also, another great strategy is just to schedule breaks for yourself. So if you do have the luxury of having many hours in one day to work on your career transition, you could also schedule in breaks so that you know that, hey, coming up, I'm going to have a break and I'll, save my distractions for then. My last tip for you today is, when possible, leverage automation or outsourcing or getting help from professionals. So when you're trying to manage a full-time teaching job and a job search, anything that you can do to take things off your plate, increase your knowledge, do automation or outsourcing, those can all be lifesavers. I always like to say, don't reinvent the wheel. And that's one reason we created the Teacher Career Transition Academy, so that if there's something you don't know how to do or you need help with a particular part of the process, all of the information is right there for you, so you can cut out even just the researching or finding a vetted source and things like that. You can also try to find things that you can automate. And in the job search process, that might be things like setting up email reminders for yourself to go out. If you had informational interviews with people and you want to send an email a day later, or you have interviews and you want to send out an email a day later, instead of having to remember to log on a day later and hit send, you could schedule emails to go out. Also, with those informational interviews, if you want to make sure that you remember to ping that person in 30 days and, just follow up and stay top of mind, you could use email automation for that as well. If you have friends or family that can help you with any responsibilities that you have at home, that's also another great way to outsource. So you might not be able to outsource your actual career transition because you're going to be the one that has to put in the work on that, but maybe you have a partner, a spouse, a neighbor, a family member that could do something else for you to give you more time to dedicate to your career transition. It could be as simple as asking your partner if they can take over the kids' bedtime routines on Tuesdays and Thursdays so that you get an extra hour or so in those evenings. So think about your own lifestyle and what you can do. Also, if you have the ability to work with a career coach, or join the Teacher Career Transition Academy, professionals can help save you time in the process. And that's one thing I like to say, is that we just want to streamline everything for you, to take time out of the process where we can, because it is a lengthy process finding a new job. So anything that you can do to speed that up is going to be well worth it. Again, if you have not attended my free masterclass, it really is that free masterclass is all about process. So if you like following a process, taking things step by step, if you want to know every step it takes to go from the classroom into a corporate career, kind of condensed into 1 hour, it is a lot of information fairly quickly. So it's a really great use of your time. I'll make sure I link that below. Another tip I have for you today is just building a support network. This is crucial because you're not going through this process alone. So the more support that you can have from your friends, family, or other teachers who are making a career transition can make a huge difference. Having these people to share your wins or frustrations can keep you motivated and can provide valuable feedback. We have a free Facebook group. If you're not in that already, it's open to the public. I'll post that there. If you are a member of the Teacher Career Transition Academy, our academy members have their own communication forum. It doesn't really matter who your accountability partners are, but finding an accountability partner can be a huge step in helping you through this career transition and navigating your career application processes and just being there for you. And my last tip today is a buzzword that we all hear all the time, which is self-care. So I don't want to end this episode without mentioning the importance of self-care, because it is so easy to get caught up in the hustle that you neglect your own well-being. But staying physically and mentally healthy is key to productivity. So make sure you're getting enough sleep, eating well, taking time to relax and recharge. And I know this is easier said than done, especially if you're in the classroom. I actually did an entire workshop about burnout and how to kind of do self-care while you're teaching. I'll probably bring that back for a future episode, so keep your eyes posted on the podcast, but really make sure that you do prioritize this and prioritize self-care into your life. So with every small step that you take, you are one step closer in your career change process. And we don't want that process to overwhelm you. So remember to break it down step by step. Keep focusing on what's important and let go of what's not. If you catch yourself getting lost in the endless scroll of job boards or LinkedIn, take a step back and refocus your energy on what truly matters. I'm so glad that you joined me today on this episode. I hope these tips help you while you stay productive during your own job search. If you have any more questions or need advice, don't hesitate to reach out. If you found today's episode helpful and you love the Beyond the Classroom podcast, I love when you review and share with a friend. And don't forget, friends, the journey is just the beginning. Embrace the adventure.